We are live actually.
Okay, awesome. We'll wait for our guests to join and then we can start. Is it possible for us to pin the speaker so that yeah, I think Hamza, you should pin the speaker.
How to do?
In settings, it must be coming for you.
Hi Shruti.
Hi, Anjum.
So sorry, a couple of minutes late.
No problem. We are still waiting for our doctor to join us
Okay.
and then we can start.
Uh,
Thank you so much for joining us today and a very happy Women's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Women's Day to you too.
Thank you. So, how are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating by barely working today.
Yeah, that's actually that's how it should be celebrated, a day off.
Yeah, yeah. And nobody has tagged me anywhere for work today, thankfully. I don't know if it's intentional, but I'm glad.
Definitely.
My voice and everything is okay, right?
Absolutely, absolutely fine.
Lighting is well.
Yeah. And just speak to our guest. We'll wait for another couple of minutes. I think the doctor should join us. I've just had a word with her,
Sure, sure. No problem.
and we'll start immediately. Um, Hamza, I just wanted to know, are we online right now or
Yeah, we are
we?
live.
Okay, then I would actually like to take this time and wish all our viewers and especially all the women watching us today a very, very happy Women's Day. And I hope that with this session today, we'll also be able to throw some light on the requirement of support, especially during the most vulnerable phase of a woman's life, and that is childbirth. So that is what we aim to do today with our session. We are waiting for our guests to join us, and hopefully, in the next couple of minutes, we'll be able to start.
Thank you, Shruti.
Yeah. Thank you, Anju. Thank you so much for joining us, actually, taking out time. I know it's a busy day, and I'm sure that this month in itself, you have so many calls to join so many sessions, and then taking out time for us is actually, a pleasure for us, actually.
I love it. I love this month when there is suddenly a lot of energy to talk about women's issues.
Okay. I think ma'am has joined. Hamza, you'll have to let her in. Dr. Bhavani, we can't see your video.
Can you? Hello?
No, we can hear you very well, but
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
could you
I'm
please say?
trying to do something to it, but I unable to. It's unable to access the camera basically.
Oh,
So
okay.
let me see what we can do about it.
Yeah, maybe in the settings you'll have to go and change access.
Yeah.
You'll have to give Zoom access to camera.
Hmm. Usually, actually, we don't usually use Zoom on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So meanwhile, for everyone who has joined us, I want to extend a very, very warm welcome to our Women's Day panel discussion. And today we have come together to celebrate the incredible strength, resilience, and a very special thing, which is the nurturing spirit, which I think, I wouldn't say only women possess, but I definitely feel that the nurturing spirit of women is, as compared to our counterparts, a little bit higher. Definitely. I think that is how nature has made us, right? And today, to celebrate this day and to, we have a very diverse and a very inspiring group of panelists. We would be shedding light today on the profound journey of motherhood and the critical role that support in the motherhood journey, both at home and in the workplaces. So we do aim to explore how women navigate the delicate balance of motherhood, careers, personal growth, and how, as a society, we can make a difference to this. We will also dive deep into the experiences of our women panelists today. We have with us today a very compassionate neonatologist, Dr. P. Bhavani. Uh, we have with us a professional who is herself building an HR consultancy firm. And I think she's probably the right person to talk about it and advocate women's rights today. We were also to be joined by a very dedicated working woman who also generously donated her breast milk with us. Unfortunately, due to some unforeseen and unfortunate medical circumstances, she might not be able to join us, or even if she joins us, it will probably be for a brief period of time. However, I feel that right now we don't want to disturb her. Actually had a very grave medical emergency, which was very unpredicted. But any which ways, I would now want to begin on my session today, and to begin before I begin today, I actually want to take some time to introduce my guests, both of them, beginning with Dr. Bhavani. Dr. P. Bhavani is a consultant neonatologist and a pediatrician, and she has 5 years of experience in pediatrics and neonatology. Her special interest is care of extremely low birth weight neonates and preterm neonates. Breastfeeding and kangaroo mother care, developmental supportive care is her area of interest. And ma'am, I want to extend a very warm welcome on behalf of Neolacta to you. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining us today.
Thank you, Dr. Shruti. It's my pleasure too. And happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And same to you, ma'am. Uh, we also have with us today Miss Anju Dinesh, who is currently working with a startup called Impress.ai, and she works in the recruitment automation space. She is a first time mom to a beautiful 1.5-year-old boy. And along with donning the cap of a new mom, she has now also ventured on the path of entrepreneurship and is just beginning to build an HR consulting firm at Kochi. Very warm welcome to you, Anju. Thank you so much for taking out time today and joining us.
Thank you, Shruti, and thank you, Dr. Dipti Bhavni, for joining us.
Sure. Thank
We were also to have Akansha Gupta. We hope that she'll be able to join us today for a short period of time. Akansha is a hotelier who works for IBIS Group of Hotels. She has a 3-year-old boy now, but when her son was little, she was donating with us, and she continued to donate even after she joined back work. So her support system, which included her husband and her parents, enabled her to feed not just her own baby, but also numerous other preterm infants by the virtue of sharing of breast milk. I wish that she joins us today for a short period of time and speaks to us. But before that, and meanwhile, let us dive into the session. And my first question today is to Dr. Bhavani. Dr. Bhavani, I want to understand from you and learning from your experience. We want to know how crucial is the maintenance of this delicate balance, which is involved in the entire journey of a new mom. The delicate balance between the healthcare professionals, the nursing staff, the lactation consultants, the family member, and also the mother herself. And how does it help in establishing a successful breastfeeding relationship between the mother and the baby?
Okay. Yeah, this question actually is the crux of the whole discussion, or it actually discusses the whole of our discussion. Probably that's the in a generalized way. So if I tell you, actually, in majority of the hospitals or even in the workplaces, there are established systems already. We are lucky to be part of those, be getting involved in those. Where, for example, if I talk about a hospital, so when a mother gets registered with an obstetrician for a first antenatal visit or a second visit, initially in her first 3 months of the pregnancy, so usually we motivate her to take the supplements. We tell her about, we'll give her a slight hint of, direct breastfeeding. She already knows, since she must have seen her mother, she must have seen many women around her, that she knows that, she needs to give breastfeeding to the baby. And what are the benefits of breastfeeding? I don't need to tell a mother, actually. There are lots and lots, tons and tons. Still that area is even explode. We'll be getting new things each and every day. So she usually, majority of them, they know. So if starting from the second trimester, usually the lactogenesis step starts in the second trimester, actually. Antenatal part in the second trimester itself, that is the 3rd to 6 months itself, it starts. The step 1 starts. So at that moment is the time where we, as the obstetricians, if we obviously at that moment neonatologist or pediatrician doesn't come into picture, so at that moment we'll just tell the mother, start preparing herself mentally as well as physically for breastfeeding. So mentally, obviously, she knows that she needs to, the only feed that she's going to give for next 6 months will be only breast milk for the baby. First thing. Second thing is physically, if I tell you, to be in a brief, because we'll keep on discussing a lot of things over the next few minutes. So physically, she needs to take care of the mechanical issues of the breast. Like, for example, preparation of the breast. Majority of them, the first time moms may have flat nipple or inverted nipple or everted nipple. So all of these could be problems in latching.
Right.
That is, good latch is the first step to achieve successful breastfeeding. So
Right.
physically and mentally, she'll be prepared for breastfeeding. She starts taking care of her nipple, and anyways, the Lama's classes keep going on. The Lama's classes with the physiotherapist, and usually there are a group of there is a group. So if you see a physiotherapist,
Right.
lactational consultant, a dietitian, all of them usually take in groups, because they all of them are needed for overall proper proper management of the pregnancy. So we get in touch with them, we attach them slowly, we'll start putting them in the Lama's classes. We involve the partners in the Lama's class, breathing exercises, classes, little bit of limitations with Zumba, also little bit, not so much. At the same time, she should be able to take it, but it shouldn't be too much stress on the lower part of her abdomen. So in that way, we involve in many aspects. And the last would be the continuation of Lamas, as well as the preparation of her preparation of nipple, so that there wouldn't be any hindrance or the mechanical issues involved in latching. Initial part would be that. So giving her a proper orientation regarding breastfeeding. We wouldn't be talking about how many times or how do you handle the baby, all of that initially. It might increase her anticipation or anxiety. So what we do is, we'll tell her about benefits of breastfeeding, and she also should create her own awareness and create a positive environment in and around her house, in the family or in the workplace, anywhere that she's around. And from the hospital side, from the obstetrician side, and from the team side, this would be the motto. After we enroll her, after we keep following up her throughout the pregnancy. From the workplace side and from the family side are two very important. So from the workplace side, obviously her friends, and most importantly, any other mother who underwent through the pregnancy, was feeding the baby, obviously will be of great help in guiding her, in letting down her anxiety, and actually thinking in a positive way. First thing. Second thing is, if the mother is through a pregnancy where there are not much high activities in the mother, it wouldn't be certain medical problems. She might need checkups, she might need scans. So the workplace should be in such a way that the leaves would be little relaxed. There would be cover-ups for her, not too much stress on her, because she's already taking too much with the baby already. For her health, the baby's health, both are almost decided by her only. Right. So, and second thing is, obviously the government of India has already laid down proper and clear guidelines on the maternity leave. Certain places they have told, still we don't have a clarity or the final decision over extension of maternity leave. But for now, we have a proper 6 months leave, which should be enough. If the pregnancy is a low risk, where the mother is quite fine and she can comfortably feed the baby totally.
We are losing connection at your end, I believe.
Breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life. So what I have told you, the nurses would be the postnatal part, where in case the baby is with the mother in the room, so the labor room nurse would be able to help her achieve proper latching. The family members around her should always have a positive attitude towards breastfeeding. There shouldn't be some sort of discouragement or talking negativity around the mother. Only, see, breastfeeding is a neuroendocrine reflex. That means you think about breastfeeding, you think about having good thoughts about the baby. That means I will be able to feed my baby. It's my baby. I will be able to feed my baby, and I don't need any help for that. I will only feed my baby. If the mother thinks like that and leaves all the negative thoughts away, that mother will surely achieve completely breastfeeding her baby. If not today, tomorrow, at least day after tomorrow, and so on. So the positive attitude of her only will help. So no matter who is around her, what is going on around her, or it could be somewhere inside her also. So many of the mothers do suffer from postpartum depression. So very common, but yet it's not very openly talked about by all the mothers because of the lots of stigmas that are attached to. But even I would say I experienced a part of it, while even though being a doctor, coming from a family of doctors, I also experienced the postpartum depression. I am in a state, most of them would be in a state where you don't know what is happening. You just somebody tells you that to do, and some certain mothers blindly believe that it has to be done, yes, without any reason or logic. You just go and do it. No, at least this mothers, if you see the generation in the next last 5 years, I could see the difference in them. They are very clear.
So,
They
ma'am,
have
antenatal education has played a part into this
yeah,
change in
exactly.
mentality and the questioning attitude that mothers have developed.
Yes. So the overall change actually made a positive impact here.
Right.
The overall change over the in the lifestyle or in the empowerment of women actually helped us in a positive way. So
Right.
quickly the mothers are able to realize what is the mistake, correct it, and then act accordingly and achieve successful breastfeeding. There are lots of mothers who didn't breastfeed for the first time, but they're comfortably breastfeeding the baby on the second time, totally. No top of milk, nothing.
Hmm.
So this is majorly is a role of everybody around the mother. That's like a web
Awesome.
where everybody is involved, but the center point will be always the mother.
Absolutely, ma'am. You have very, very well put it down. I think this is the crux. What you have said is it's a web and the mother is at the center. Very, very well put down. Ma'am, since you have highlighted the importance of antenatal education, and we have a mom who is, who has a 1.5-year-old baby right now with us. Anju, I want to know from you, what was the antenatal education that you received during your pregnancy? And do you feel that this education made any difference in your breastfeeding journey?
Absolutely. Yes, Shruti. So I am very glad to be a privileged part of the society where I have access to good medical care and you can actually pay for the support system. It says it takes a village to raise a child. But in the kind of world that we live in, our villages are very far away, right? My mother is far away. My husband's parents live very far away. We don't have our own village. So we had to pay and get our own village.
Yeah.
Both the hospital as well as representatives from the government were very supportive to me. Even to this day, even if I forget to give my son a shot, I get a call from my ASHA worker saying,
Ah,
your son is due for a shot, you need to give it to him. So
wow.
I've been very lucky to have that support. Even the hospital that I went to, Aster, from the time I told them that I was pregnant, so I had a very loving doctor, just like Bhavani ma'am here. And, at each stage, she would educate me. She will also empower me to go and understand and learn about it myself. Uh,
Hmm.
but what I want to say, despite having all the support, actually feeding your kid, it was very, very challenging. Like I had everybody. I had my husband is a very equal partner. He was there to support me. My mother was there. I had a person to help me, but my son just couldn't figure out how to latch. So when she was talking about latching, like I mean, it was so emotionally distressing as well, right? Like
Hmm.
I had prepared, like we had the baby when we were ready to have the baby, like we wanted this. But he just couldn't figure out how to latch. So you had to literally hold his mouth to the nipple if he had to drink for hours. And I am an engineer, so I have this attitude to always use an app for everything. So I had two apps, and with that app, I'd measure how much time does he take to feed. And I did an analysis at the end of 3 months. My son would feed 12 times a day, and each time is 30 to 40 minutes, and
Hmm.
on either sides. And I was just, this is half my life, half of my day that I'm spending only feeding my son. He didn't know how to latch, so it took a lot of time. And the rest of the time is when I have to sleep, I have to make food for him sometimes, I have to take care of myself, and I didn't have any vacant time on me. So it was extremely hard despite having all the support. And I keep telling my husband this. I started living again when 6 months were over. And I was determined that I'll feed him exclusively for the first 6 months because he was a low weight baby at first. That is again why I had to feed him for a long period of time. And I myself was a premature baby. I was
Hmm.
born at 34 weeks. So in my head, I always had that key. I wanted to feed my kid. But it's only when it ended that I actually, started feeling more of myself.
Yeah.
That's my journey.
I would absolutely agree, Anju. I think yes, when a mom has a newborn at hand, there a major part, and as ma'am also mentioned that it does not matter whether you are a doctor or whether you are an engineer or anybody for that matter. Postpartum blues will hit most of the mothers. In fact, if I'm right and ma'am correct me if I'm wrong, in that case, I think 70% of women actually go through postpartum blues, 7 out of 10 women, which is a very, very high number.
Sure, sure.
And
Very sure.
support at this stage is extremely crucial. So, in both of your cases, what you have mentioned is antenatal education, right? And you also mentioned, Anju, that your partner was there to support you. I would like to know, ma'am, from you that what part should be covered for partners and families in antenatal classes? Like, how should we involve partners and families in the antenatal classes itself? And what education should be imparted to them so that they are able to help moms or new moms in a better way? Like, she's constantly telling that her baby had challenges in latching. I'm a lactation consultant myself. I think 9 out of 10 cases that come to me have latch issues at some point, at some stage in their breastfeeding journey. And it is not like the first time. It can happen after 5 months. My baby was latching for 4 months. Now the baby is not latching anymore. So latch issues will come at any point, and I have seen sore nipples even at 8 months of postpartum phase. So a mom, by the time she figures that she has to go and visit a professional, she already has sore nipples, cut nipples, there are fissures already. And for a new mom, especially to figure out a position, especially if you have had a cesarean section, and to be able to sit down for a long period of time and feeding the baby, I think if the family and the partners know how to support this mother, it would definitely make a challenge. And that's why, ma'am, I would want to know what can what education can be imparted to them.
Yeah. So, yes, Dr. Shruti. See, if I would like to answer this question in this way. So, they would be or should be actually involved in every aspect of the counseling, because there is a role for everybody to play here. The
Hmm.
mother is playing her role. She's growing the baby, she's taking care of the nutrition of herself and the baby, she's taking care of the extra supplements that she need to take. She's trying to keep herself calm. She's trying at the same time. I don't think there is luxury of running away from all the works that we do, running away from all the necessities that we have, and the works that we do, because all majority of them are working moms, be it in any way, majority of them are working. So unless there is a very obligation that she needs to take a bed rest or so, a majority, around 70 to 80% of them, would be working as usual. Probably the amount of work they do may or may not be different from what they were doing before, but they will be continuing their work. So mother actually is at the maximum stress that she can take, she can handle. So there wouldn't be anything above that she should be able to handle also, nothing more than that. So here comes the place of the family partner on the first priority, and the elders in the family. So there are certain limitations with respect to attitude changes in elders, which can't be changed. It's not totally in our hands. So here comes the role of the partner,
Yeah.
where the partner also gets involved. breastfeeding and preparation, and most importantly, I would say the Lama's class, or taking care of her diet, giving her extra supplements, taking her out on walks, watching some plays or movies together, spending some quality time, keeping her positively. I would say the most important thing is staying with her throughout her pregnancy, trying to keep her calm and positive, not talking about things that may provoke her, or not giving extra stress to her. The things which she is supposed to know or should know only will be told to her, the rest should be managed. It actually is a burden to both the partners. It's just not the mother, but father also handles a lot of burden in his own way.
Yeah.
So if you ask me this question, how far should be the partner and how much or where the partner should be involved, I would say he should be able to get himself involved in everything, but obviously the level of involvement will be surely different.
Yeah.
Level of involvement, the mental support, the emotional support that they give. Usually, it's even more than the own mother or somebody very close. Also, it's obviously the father of the baby. You and majority of the pregnancies in the last 2 to 3 years, if you see, most of them from the working mothers are planned pregnancies. It is rarely, if you talk about certain groups of people, they are planned pregnancies. So that means we have planned it. So that means we are physically, emotionally, financially, in all the ways possible, we are planning, we are prepared for the pregnancy. So that means the preparation not just is in these forms, like physically or emotionally or financially. It should be extending a support, crossing few steps ahead, coming down a little, deviating from what we are doing, and then extending the support.
Right.
Talking positively, knowing her reasons for anxiety, knowing if she's anxious, trying to sort it down, attending her medical checkups, getting her scans done, and knowing how the baby is, and most importantly, talking to the baby, developing a bond with the baby while the baby is in utero.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't. I think in this advanced growing field of this medicine, I wouldn't talk about Lama's classes, because these Lama's classes have been going on since past many years. I wouldn't talk about it. It would be outdated if I talk about it, because most of the mothers, at least, if I would say lower or upper middle class, se bhi, everybody is taking the Lama's classes. Everybody has an idea. We'll try for normal delivery first. If not possible, we'll go for a LSCS. Every mother is trying herself to undergo through the whole process naturally.
Right.
Unless there are certain clear-cut indications where, the mother is not feasible for a normal delivery or the baby is not feasible, that's a different case scenario. The natural birthing centers also have come a lot long way through, so that the whole process is natural. The father's involvement is taken to the maximum level, so that he is on pace with what is happening with his wife as well as the baby.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, very well explained. I think what you have said is that the father has to be available from the beginning to the point that the baby is born, and even after that, and in every aspect. We can't, just say that, okay, only this part you have to do and rest of it I can. Just like you expect a mom that if she is pregnant, and then she has to be involved in everything, the father also has to be involved in everything. So what I would like to say here is breastfeeding can be a mom's job, but it is the responsibility of the society in whole. So that is how I would like to put it. Anju, I like to know from you, since you have already said that you have come from, definitely you understand that you come from a privileged society. You also have said that your partner was very supporting, and as ma'am mentioned, it was a planned pregnancy for you as well. So
It is
what?
not a planned pregnancy, but we were ready.
You are ready. Okay, let's put it like that. Let's put it like that, that you are ready. Okay. Planned pregnancies, yeah, as in you count days in planned pregnancy. Yeah, not that way. Okay, moving on. Any specific challenges that you feel you faced at home, and how did you overcome those challenges?
The lack of support, I mean, from my husband, I really got a lot of support, but I felt like, even my mother, who I thought would be the one to give me that unconditional support, was like, I am old now, and I don't think I can support you the way you expect. You need to, I mean, like I felt like I didn't get the kind of support that I really expected from both sides. But I made sure that I have the systems in place,
Mm.
that I have a person I can rely on, because my husband is again a businessman, so he travels. So I need to have somebody with me. So I also was deeply affected by the conflict in opinions that you hear from older people, especially the ones who comes to take care of the baby. And the problem is, because the baby is with them for a long period of time, there is only so much you can do to tell them, don't do this, don't do that. And we want to have some control over what they do, but this conflicting opinions were really a problem for me, because again, my son was low on weight, and it is always told that this is your fault, you are not having food properly, but I am eating food 3 times a day. And they used to overfeed me. Now I'm like 12 kilos overweight after delivering my baby. But the point is, you feel so helpless, and you feel like all these Google and Wikipedia is not helping you. Let me listen to somebody who has gone through it, and then you listen to it. So it's this conflict that has affected me the most, and sometimes the lack of support the way I expected it to be there. So that were the things.
Wow. I think also when you say conflicting opinions, I think it definitely, and ma'am also did mention that she told about the positivity that you need to maintain as a family. I'll tell you my experience. I have a 11-year-old boy, and how I was pushed into lactation consultancy was probably a similar story. So when I delivered, I had I mean, I'm a physiotherapist, but I did not know much about breastfeeding, definitely. And it was difficult, it was painful, it was hurting, and there was nobody to reach out. When I reached out to my doctor, she said it is choti moti problem, which will keep happening, which did not feel chota mota to me at all, trust me, because it was so painful. Worst part was the entire family told me that you are too sensitive, and every woman feeds their babies. What is this different that you are
So
doing, so you're making such a fuss about it? It was very painful to hear, because it, just like you said, that the support that you expect is missing. That is what has happened to me also, because I was expecting that at least this is the family, this is my mom, this is my sister, these are my people, and they come and
And
tell
the
me
kind of
what are
pressure they
you
put on you to have a baby, right?
let's leave it. Let's leave it. Let's not talk about it. Just talking about, I felt that even they don't trust me, that I'm trying my best to feed my baby. I'm not able to, or I'm having challenges facing feeding my baby, and they feel I'm making a huge cry about it, which is not that relevant. That is when I started studying on my own, and that is how I actually got into this field. That's when I started, understanding deeper things about it. But I feel after so many years also, I'm talking, okay, this was 11 years ago. But even today, I feel that uh, there are a lot of women who face similar things. And that is the
Correct.
reason why I actually began my conversation with antenatal education of both partners and also of family. So family
Mm.
support is extremely important, and ma'am has very well pointed out that a positive family attitude plays a crucial role in breastfeeding. Ma'am, I also feel that we have, as a society in general in India, we have a lot of interference. I wouldn't say interference, I think this is support in a way, but it can come across as interference at some point, yes. But we do have a very close knit family, and especially when a baby is born, everybody becomes a doctor, even the maid becomes a doctor, the neighbors become doctors, and everyone has an opinion. So this is why I feel that education prenatally in the pregnancy for the mother to understand what is correct, what is not correct. And also, what I want to talk about is the freedom to go and consult a an educated person, a doctor, a neonatologist, a pediatrician, a gynecologist. So, is the hospital policy, the attitude of the caregiver, important in establishing a healthy relationship? Breastfeeding, definitely, but also a healthy mindset of the mother. And what support, uh, I'm talking about the policies basically of the hospital, of the caregivers. How does that impact the journey of a mother?
Okay.
I
So, regarding that, what I would say is usually majority of the hospitals, if they are baby-friendly health initiative hospitals, BFH accredited, so usually they have an established breastfeeding policy. For example, if it's a uh, if I would like to talk about places where I worked in the past 8 years, so what usually happens is we totally encourage breastfeeding. We do not resort to formula just because initially there was a little bit dip in the feeding, because initially mother would be unable to take orally anything because of the LSCS. In case the normal delivery mothers who underwent normal delivery would be easily establishing successful breastfeeding. So in that cases, what we usually do is we have our, apart from educating the parents, that means the mother more importantly as well as the partner, regarding the necessity of breastfeeding, preparation for the breastfeeding, it goes on. And after the delivery, zero separation, like skin to skin contact as soon as the baby is born. And then establish the latch. And actually the cutting of cord, giving vitamin K or giving birth vaccination is not very important here. Establish zero separation with skin to skin contact and start latching the mother as soon as the baby is born. If there are no indications for separation, start, we even in the LSES we bring the baby and we start latching on the mother, and we give a good amount of at least 10 minutes for the baby. Certain babies are very smart, they do breast crawl and they hold the baby's breast, hold the mother's breast and start feeding from the mom. Certain babies take little time, probably they are little immature or whatever, so they start latching. So that actually gives a very positive kick to the mother. In case there were certain mothers whom we started doing breast crawl and she was very happy. She tells me that, madam, my first son is 9 years old, I wasn't able to breastfeed too. I did not breastfeed him at all. So this time we had different kinds of mothers actually. So the latest pregnancy that we saw was this baby is the second baby of this mother, who she told the first baby couldn't be breastfed. So we started the breast crawl within 5 minutes of life. Again, the baby did a nice latch within, like, baby took a small, quite some time, very less time only. Baby started latching and she's able to establish it. But at the same time, there are mothers where they are still very stigmatic about it. They have a very bad stigma saying, the first baby I didn't feed, so second baby also I won't be able to do it. And there are certain mothers, we had to deal with certain mothers where they say that they tell, like they clearly blatantly tell that we will not feed the baby, we will not be feeding the baby. We already got our stock of milk, the formula from US or whatever company that they say. There are, yeah, it was very difficult. Certain times we could succeed in establishing breastfeeding, but yes, there were certain families where we could not do it against their wish, right?
Yeah.
So basically, so the way would be to start with zero separation, skin to skin contact, help them, tell them that this is how the latch is, tell the position of the mother that she should not be bending herself to the baby, she has to sit straight. The baby should be wrapped, baby should be placed on her hands and lifted towards her breast with a breastfeeding pillow and start an effective latch. The initial 1 or 2 days probably she'll require help. especially the firstborn mothers, first primary mothers. Later, they would easily figure out, because per day the baby would be feeding at least 10 to 12 times. So 10 to 12 times, any human being will be able to understand and realize how easy for it, for the baby as well as the mother. So usually by second or third day, most of the mothers get a grip of what is happening. And for example, if it's an LSES mother, certain times we do encourage her while feeding on the lying down.
Yeah.
We usually we ask them to get up, incline the bed in such a way she'll be able to support the baby without bending on her. But certain places they still are practicing that feeding where the mother lies, mother turns towards the side and feeds the baby. That's unless there is very close monitoring, sometimes it could be little dangerous. Baby there are chances that baby might choke. So that is plus minus. If you're monitoring the baby properly, that's okay. But if there are places where there's no monitoring and the mother just sleeps over and doesn't watch her baby, then that would be a problematic situation. Otherwise, she can try whatever position she's comfortable in, slowly mobilize her, tell her the proper sitting posture where she doesn't have that strain over her back. And straining the back would actually decrease the compliance towards the breastfeeding, because already the mother might feel the sensations over the nipple, because the initial could be perceived as a pain or see area. It's a huge tell you. So it's the small place of nipple over this big whole body is a extremely sensitive. So when the baby starts sucking and baby doesn't know where to hold and start sucking in a wrong way, obviously it will hurt. And most importantly, if you try to pull the baby while the baby is sucking, then it will cause, then there is a high risk of having sore. So all these things, like how to hold the baby, how to establish an effective, successful baby is gonna give. Like for example, baby starts, who the baby is asleep. After a while, when the baby is approaching towards the feeding time, baby starts searching for the mom in the sleep. Baby starts searching for the mom. Baby starts searching for the baby's mother's nipple and starts sucking and makes those noises, which help us in understanding, yes, the baby is about to be fed. So all of these things could be constructively told, if not by a nurse. For example, how many days does anybody stay in the hospital? Uh, Lately, in the past few years, they started discharging the mothers on the third day itself. So there would be certain problems if, right, not the 5 days like before, there wouldn't be much time. And if they haven't established a proper latch and mother and baby did not understand their comfort levels, by the time some of it is understood, they're discharged to home. So the care part, the management of this problem is uncovered problem is taken care of at home only. If the family is supportive, the family, the whoever the male or ladies, whoever are her support system, are aware of it and know how to solve it, it would be okay. But you know how many among our families are actually completely clearly aware of it? It is just like, sometimes it so happens that मुझे पता है, मैंने इतने बेबीज को पाला है, हम मुझसे मुझसे सुनो, और कुछ बात करने का भी नहीं है. You don't know, you just didn't even raise a child. These kind of situations come. So if the so in this situation where the mother is getting discharged in 3 days, the responsibility, if we want to help that mother or that couple, it would be little extra work from the doctor, the nurse who is attending to the mother, as well as the team involved. In case by second day, the end of the first day, we are unable to establish, so we can bring in a lactation consultant who will actually focus on setting her posture up, putting, how do we put the baby, how does she wrap the baby in her arms, how does she lift the baby, how does she put a pillow, and how does she start, how much time does she do the feeding, and if she has any concerns with how much milk that she's producing, advise her diet. So this sets up a tone with them. So mother already knows a little bit. So mother knows that, yeah, I have a problem, but actually I'm working towards it. So maybe by the time maybe by the time the mother is discharged from the hospital, she may not have the problem solved completely, but by at least next 48 or 72 hours, she would be all right. She
Hmm.
knows the problem and she started working towards the direction of the solution, right? At least by, if not by third day, she might be okay by fifth day or sixth day. At least she's in the right track, right? Rather than somebody coming with lots of unnecessary expectations or feelings, trying to push something on the mother who doesn't know, who is very naive at that moment, who probably has postpartum, who's in her postpartum blues or depression, where things are not totally in her control. She wants some things to be done in some ways, but she's not given the control over it,
Hmm.
right?
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, I think you have very well explained the what role the HCPs have, especially in the first 3 days to establish this relationship, and also a support system that can be developed for later, which comes in terms of professional help. So a doctor, a lactation consultant, are very well in place now, and this is something which was not available 10 years ago or 15 years ago. This is something which is recently developed in India. Very rarely would you find a LC across the country, maybe one in Delhi, one in Mumbai. That's how the placement was, but it is now widely available. It is every hospital.
Dr. Shruti, when I delivered, there was not many lactational consultants at that moment, around 9 years ago.
Absolutely,
For
ma'am.
me also, I had problems with latch. It took like a week at least for me to set things right.
Ma'am, and trust me, over the years that I have practiced as an LC, trust me, I have helped so many doctors, gynecologists and neonatologists.
Without any doubt.
Because it is not about what you know about breastfeeding. It is about the practical support that you need.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
after I gave birth, I had my LC. She would come in every day. Like,
Yes.
even if my doctor doesn't come, she'd come every day and she'll ask me, now show me how you feed the baby.
Uh,
And she'll wait and watch. And every time I had a problem, I think
Connection is. Anju, we lost your connection, I believe.
Did the other person also join, Dr. Shruti?
Unfortunately, ma'am, no. What has happened is that the other
Yeah,
girl who joined us
she
has
had a medical emergency,
yes,
right?
yes. So she hasn't been able to join us. I think Anju has lost her connection. I believe we'll get back to her as soon
Yeah,
as.
yeah, yeah.
And meanwhile, I now want to
Sure.
move on. See, we have already spoken about the first few days after delivering. We have spoken about the first establishing the exclusive breastfeeding and everything for the first 6 months. We understand that, but we also do understand that babies, as per WHO, all babies should be fed for a minimum of 2 years, along with starting of complementary food. Ma'am, I want to know from you the importance of extended breastfeeding. Because what happens is that once after 6 months, mothers also, I won't say just the family or the periphery around them, for mothers also, what they feel is only 6 months I have to feed and then I'll be free. They feel that as if a magic would happen at 6 months, one day, and the baby would start taking solid foods, and her job at breastfeeding will be done now. So, is that the case? And how long does she have to continue? And what is the importance for the baby, especially of this extended breastfeeding?
Okay. So, in this context, actually, in a way, it's beneficial both for the mother and the baby. So, first, if I talk about the mother, so extended breastfeeding that's above 6 months, usually, so that's a very nice way where it protects her from ovarian or uterine cancers, and also the breast cancer. It her AUB problems. And second and most important thing is, it is the best way to lose her weight. Natural way to lose her weight. I wouldn't really tell it's a natural way of contraception, because it's not 100% proof. because the problem here is it's not about conceiving with the inadequate amount of gap that she has between the pregnancies. She's going to suffer, as well as the first baby who is who needs breastfeeding may not get as much as the baby deserves. So that's my concern. Both the baby and mother do suffer. So I wouldn't say it's a natural way of contraception totally. So these two things, she has a good amount of protection from all of that. Second thing is in mothers who have this issue of gaining weight or having excessive overweight issues, they would obviously, because gaining weight is not just gaining weight, this putting them at risk of metabolic syndrome or obesity or diabetes or hypertension. So all of that is fine. Second thing, to the baby, extended breastfeeding, yes, it is a very, there is a lot of clarity and there is a lot of hope over continuing this extended breastfeeding, where the mother gives only like 30 or 40% or maximum to the maximum 50% of the total baby's diet. 50 is actually very high. After a certain age group of like around 9 months to 1 year, 1 year and above, 50% would be too much, because the baby would be needing more than that, more than mother's feeding. At that point, the quantity or the frequency would decrease automatically. The amount of solid food that baby will take, or the introduction of fruits or introduction of fiber rich diet, all of that will increase automatically. Once the baby explores and starts walking and everything, it would be less compared to a baby who's just who started sitting on his own, or just started standing, like a 10 months or 9 months baby. So at that point, first 1 year though, it would be of even more important, because first thing that we should remember is God has created the mammals in such a way that they feed their own, and just not inside, even outside, they are able to take care of the babies, most importantly physically and emotionally. As the 6 months would be the whole and sole source of nutrition for the baby. After that, rather than having the baby switched over to dairy through cow's milk or buffalo milk or a packet milk, it would be best for the mother to give her the mother milk, because mother's milk is obviously curated. The mother's milk is curated for her own baby by the God. So that would be the best source, undoubtedly. The immunity that is imparted from the mother to the baby decreases the risk of their lower respiratory tract infection or developing diseases, chronic diseases like asthmas or allergies, by a significant amount. Their IQ points are at least 20 to 30 points higher. Their MDIs or BDIs, if you see, at least 30 to 50% higher compared to babies who are not breastfed. So obviously, there would be a lot of benefit. If you see, even in the initial stages, they say the amount of breast milk given to the baby is directly proportional to the IQ they have. Say this, how much the baby is being fed, the less will be compared to babies who are fed. So if you're feeding formula, or if you're feeding any other way of finding any other source of milk, if I would say, if the mother, it would be actually another thing I would like to discuss after a while later. But if the baby is being exposed to any other sort of dairy product, I would say breastfeeding is the best, because that's the best fit for your baby. And
Right.
here the problem is, the challenge that we have is with the duration of the maternity leave. After 6 months, the mother has to resume to her work. The working mothers have to resume to her work. In this context, unless there is a dedication or commitment or support from the father or any other family member, that because unless she takes adequate amount of rest at night, she won't be able to produce milk, right? She works from, for example, say 9 or 10 o'clock till the evening 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Obviously she's tired. She will obviously express milk at the moment because it's a neuroendocrine reflex. Whenever she thinks about the baby, she's full, she has to express and store the milk and bring it to home. That's fine. At the same time, she needs some time to rest. So as soon as the mother, the problem is the baby is separated from the mother starts resuming to her work, baby feels so separated from the mother, baby is always latching to the mother's breast. So it would be more of a comfort feeding certain times, and that would be disturbing to the mother's sleep. So at that point, the role of the partner comes, where the partner should be able to partner or somebody, if there is no partner. Are there obviously there are mothers who raise their kids without partners. Nothing stopped because nobody is there. Everything went on. So somebody, whoever helps, their family member or partner, whoever it is, give them little rest at night. If the mother, the family understood the importance of extended breastfeeding, and if the mother knows and mother is able to take it, slowly give some at least 4 hours of sleep, 4 to 5 hours of sleep at least, so that the cycle goes on. The cycle that sets a tone for the whole day. The cycle goes on, but keep that time frame where 2 to 6 o'clock, at least one time expression or one time feeding should be there, so that the hormones are produced for lactation, and throughout the day she's able to produce milk. That should be there. But at least from night 11 to 2 or 11 to 3, she should be able to sleep. After that, continuous, uninterrupted, obviously feed once and then sleep. Both the mom and the baby can sleep. Is it could happen, it actually should happen, but it will happen only with the support from the family.
Absolutely.
From the family.
So, ma'am, you have very well spoken about the support that a mother needs from her family's side in extended breastfeeding. But Anju, from you, what I want to know is, you are also, you have been into HR policies for the time, and you are venturing further into it. I would like to know, what are the policies, government policies in place in our country to support a breastfeeding mother who is returning back to work? Apart from, of course, we know that there is a 6-month maternity leave, but what other policies are there to support after she joins back work? Also, what are the areas where we can improve? Because you are a mother who has joined back work at 6 months. You know very well what are the areas where we need to improve to be able to continue extended breastfeeding.
Very happy to answer this question, because even after working as an HR for so long, I've realized when you brought this question up, we have never spoken to any new mothers about the policies or the support system that they get after they resume work. So the 6-month maternity leave thing is amazing. So even though it is taken for granted these days, I have friends. I have a friend who recently became a mother in Africa. She only had a leave for 12 days. And I have counterparts in Singapore from my team who had babies and came back within 3 months. And in the US, it's 45 days. So the policy in India for maternity leave of 6 months is amazing. They really know that they cannot keep the employers responsible, and to build that infrastructure in India, it will take a long period of time. So 6 months of maternity to ensure that the baby gets that full exclusive breastfeeding time is amazing. Now, on top of that, for this particular session, I have researched and I was able to find that there are policies in place that says that a woman should be given 15 minutes of breastfeeding break, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. And if they have their family, so ideally, if there are more than 30 women who are breastfeeding, they should have a crush in the office. I have never seen such a crush. Even me, most employers, what we would say is there is a crush within a kilometer or 3 kilometers where you could go. Now, if that were the case, the employees are responsible for giving them 4 times a day. They are supposed to allow the mothers to go take care of the kids and, feed them as necessary. I had no idea something like this existed. It is not spoken about. It is not shared. So when I was going to go back to work, so my work is remote. So it is fine, I can still go there and feed my baby in between. But still, I was terrified. I literally called all the other mothers in my company. My founders were very sweet. They're always supportive. They never told me to work too long or anything, which has its own consequences. The other day, I was talking about how, because when women become mothers and become pregnant and all, they are not given challenging work. And because of that, it affects their pay the next year, and the gender pay gap keep widening. So even the men and you guys start at the same salary, but because you become a mother and you have to feed and you have other responsibilities, you start earning less. So that's another problem. But what I was trying to say was, there are a lot of support systems that are available, but not often talked about. So it is important now that I know about it. Next time, if I'm going to have a baby, or if I have friends who are having a baby, I'm going to tell them, you have to ask your employers, because the laws are in place. Now, each individual states give other, benefits to the mothers. So here in Kerala, we have this amazing thing called Asha workers. I mentioned earlier. They are these grassroots level workers that work along with the Anganwadis. And they not only so throughout the period you are supposed to be lactating, they give nutritional food to you as well as your baby. And even if I am not in town, it is sent to my house, and my mother, when she comes, she brings it. So even now we get it, so till the entire duration. So it doesn't matter who you are, where you are from. If you're a mother, if you're pregnant, if you're feeding, you are eligible to get all these things from the government, and they do it. Only thing you need to do is you need to call them and inform. So there are other things like welfare funds, like there is Kerala Welfare Fund, where you are eligible to get 15,000 rupees as a one-time benefit for you to buy anything that you require during this period. There are so many of these schemes available, but people really rarely talk about it or even exercise their right. Even to just feed my baby outside, it is so much of so much looked down to. I remember, there are times when we are traveling in the car and I have to feed my kid. There are all these people looking at us, making us uncomfortable. I have to hide his face. He hates it. He'll take it, throw it away. But it is so hard. So all those things are still there.
Absolutely. So what are the areas that you feel that, we can improve so that we do offer an extended support to women? That's what I really want to talk about and discuss. And I think uh, as women in general, we need to understand our own rights first. Only then can we ask for it. Unless we understand what is our right here, how will we even go and ask for it? So, what is the scope of improvement here in policy is what I want to know. So, one thing that you definitely brought up was
Hello?
yeah, Anju, we can
Sorry,
hear
I lost you in between. Sorry.
Okay, I'll repeat. So, I am talking about what is the scope of improvement here. So,
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
as a mother who has just gone through that phase, you know, what would be your suggestion here? Definitely, one is of course know your rights and ask for them. That is, I think, that is definitely there, because most women will not even know that this is their right before
Correct.
they, how would they ask for it? But what in general, as a society, how can we improve to extend this support?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about this earlier when you brought this up. So, where I live, my village where I'm from, so there are two houses, one in the other side of the road, one in the other side of the road. So I live there, and I have my friend, my childhood friend. She became a mother 4 months before I did. She went to a different hospital. The kind of care that I got and the kind of care that she got is so different. So her story, if you listen to it, you will understand. Just because she went to a different hospital, the kind of emotional struggle and the way she was treated, nurses yelling at her, doctors who do not care, lactation consultant, she has not even heard of it. Like, I had a lactation consultant dietitian coming every day and talking to me. And so I think, although some people have access to good care consultants and all of these things, it is not democratized. Not all the mothers have access to it. So creating access is very important. So we need to have more centers like this. We need to have more professionals like you working in this area. You hear a lot of this chatter in the US. You don't hear that here in India, no, about lactation consultants. So another thing I remember, one thing that I personally wanted to work on is that we should have places where moms can work and the kids are taken care of. We have crushes, we have co-working spaces. Why don't these people come together? Like, I
Hmm.
want to be able to work independently without having to focus on anything else. But when I'm free, I still want to go and feed my kid and see if he's okay and he's playing. So why don't we have places like this where women, after 6 months of maternity, can with confidence go and work and also receive support? So we need, government and non-profits and everybody really to think creatively about how we can create these infrastructures that will make it easy for women to go back to work with confidence in the knowledge that the kids are taken care of, and they can feed the kid, they can do everything they're supposed to do without it really affecting their careers or their futures.
Absolutely. Very, very, very well explained. Dr. Bhavani, would you like to add anything before we conclude? I think it is time and we have probably extended the time. So, would you
Yeah,
like to
that's
add
what,
anything?
like having crashes around, like many of the hospitals, understanding places do have crashes, and large multinational companies, yes, they do have, because the numbers are very high. But the problem comes when the number of employees in the company is little low, but still mothers are mothers, babies are babies. Yes, it has to be, I think, just like how fire exit has to be as important as a fire exit is planned and planned properly, and awareness regarding the and the mock drills that they conduct, the companies conduct, there also should be a mandatory provision for crush, I would say. Just like how she said, she hasn't the workplace where she worked, or she hasn't heard, yeah, yes, there are places, I have seen places where there is crush, I've seen places where there is no crush. But probably it's one of the things that should be included as a mandatory provision or area for crush. It could be small or big, but yeah, if you want your employees to be back, but it's also important to create the resources and provisions so that they would be back. So most sometimes they say actually the mothers uh, grow up in a different level, grow up in a very different way. Uh, they would be able to handle tasks with a little extra power or energy. Like, they have been through the whole, it's like rebirth, right? If I tell you, it's like rebirth. So at least if you ask me in person, I was a different person after I became a mom. I was able to handle the stress in an efficient way. So I was
Yes.
able to take more stress for that matter.
Mhm.
Because handling the baby's feeding, handling all things around me made me even a better and a stronger person. So if you obviously, when and it would be the responsibility of the employer to provide. And if, yeah, in India, there are always loopholes for everything. You want us to do so, you would put a rule for something, but there are certain lots of other ways where it can be blocked. There are lots of ways there it will be blocked and will be done according to the comfort or the priority. So unless there is a mandatory rule that there should be a provision, because you are expecting ladies also to work here, and everybody has their own rights. It should be is the only way, is I feel, because once you start resuming to your work, and you cannot leave the baby totally. Not everybody will have the help to leave baby at home, or provision to leave the babies with others. It could be just a nuclear family where the mother and father are living with the baby, and the mother needs to resume to work. Father is already in work, so mother resumes to her work, where there is no other option except to leave the baby in the crash. So
Right. Yeah.
that's
Thank you
all
so much,
about
ma'am.
this.
Thank you
Mm.
so much, both of you, for joining us today. And I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. I enjoy
Yes,
this conversation.
yes.
I hope our audience enjoyed the conversation. And I think let I want to take this opportunity and I want to reach out to everyone who is watching the show today, and the policymakers, the government, the society in general. And I want to together with all of you, envision a world where every woman is, receives the encouragement, the understanding, and the support that she deserves. And also ensuring that no aspect of her identity is compromised during this transformative phase of her life. So thank you once again for joining me today. Thank you so much for taking the time out, and I hope we'll meet again for another, maybe another discussion soon. Till then, bye bye, and once again a very very happy Women's Day to you.
Happy Women's
Thank you,
Day.
Dr.
Thank
Shruti. Yes, I surely enjoyed the discussion with you and Anju as well. So, yeah, on this occasion of Women's Day, having a discussion on the most important aspect, one of the most touched aspects to any woman who goes through these phases is very great. So that I feel that's the essence of life. That's the essence of life. That's the best gift any mother could give to the baby, that's which is everlasting, that it is like starting from the birth till the womb, it has its own effects. It sets up the whole body for that particular child, right? It gives the
Absolutely.
natural microbiome that the baby has grown inside, with the same microbiome is being transferred for the next 6 months for the baby. It's like passing genes through the milk. It's like I can't tell you how many benefits that we have through the breast milk. And obviously it should not just be confined to just for 6 months. It should be in an extended way, and all of us should support working mothers, working lactating mothers, in such a way that the future generation of the country, as well as national ways, the support should be extended in such a way. It probably there are many other countries where there would be provision, but yeah, because of this certain limitations that we have in our country, we won't be able to reach certain targets, like for example, establishing the space, because of the space crunch or the overcrowded place. Yeah, obviously there 10 years down the line, if you see, there was no lactational consultant, but now we have meetings set up with lactational consultants, lots of mothers coming up, lots of people taking it up as a very serious job in their role, extending their role towards the society. Yeah, it's like you can't stop talking about it. That's all.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Mhm.
Right, ma'am. Anju, would you like to say something as a
No, I'm very glad that we had this conversation because almost I just stopped feeding my son 1 month ago and I had almost forgotten how difficult it was. And let me tell you, I only got the courage to start my company after he decided to wean off on his own, right? So I think that is how little you stop thinking of yourself when you are a feeding, lactating mother. So it shouldn't have to be this way. I should have been empowered to do it even when I was feeding. So I
yeah,
would have been able to do that if I had more support. So yes, we need more support, and everybody needs support, not just you and me and all, everybody who can access it, even the others should get support.
absolutely. So let us hope that the conversation reaches the right ears and we do see some changes in the policy down the line. Once again, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that we will have more conversations soon. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.